What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight I have a massive video for you guys where we're going to be talking about what's going on with the strange in-game pop-ups about Season 7 for Black Ops Cold War, what content still could be on the table for another season, and even an opportunity for you guys to pick up some DLC you might have missed during Seasons 1 through 6. Definitely stay tuned, but before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and as a reminder, I posted quite a few Cold War videos over the past couple of days about a variety of different topics. First and foremost, the new bundles that did release, some shocking ones with some really cool inspect animations, really impressive finishing moves, and some sexy looking tracers. I covered all of that in videos that I have linked down below, as well as a video talking about skill-based matchmaking, because it feels like the Vanguard integration has broken the matchmaking for Cold War, at least from my experience, where we're getting a few more bot lobbies than usual. I even dropped a nuke with one of these bot lobbies as proof that the matchmaking is a bit weird, and you'll be seeing that new gameplay here in this video tonight, but I definitely think something is a bit off with the matchmaking, so I went over all of that in a more in-depth discussion with the videos I have linked down below. But like I said in the stream I did yesterday, right, there is a discussion to be had about another season or another big content drop, to say the least, for Cold War, while there's also some big room for some fun speculation if you're still grinding this game over Vanguard, so bear with me here. But first and definitely foremost, when it comes to vault packs, as you guys may have noticed if you didn't complete any previous battle passes throughout Cold War's life cycle, there is now an opportunity for you guys out there to go ahead and unlock some content that you may not have had a chance to if you maybe just bought Cold War right now. And these vault packs go for a range of 1,400 to 2,000 COD points, and these are not meant for people who have completed previous battle passes. They intentionally do not pop up for you in your game if you did complete some of the previous battle passes in the game. In my case, I completed all 6 of them, so I don't see any of these vault packs in my in-game store, but I hopped over onto a different account so you can actually see how they look here at the menu. Now, these vault packs won't come with everything that was a part of the old battle passes, of course. That would have cost probably $100 if that was the case, but this is a great opportunity to catch up on other operators, blueprints, and specific content that again was exclusive to their battle passes at the time. And you can see how they're organized here with assault rifles, LMGs, operators, the blueprints. You guys get the gist of it here, but this is great especially for those out there who may have just bought Black Ops Cold War, because imagine, right, maybe you wait a year or two to buy a Call of Duty, and when you get that game, not only is the rank that you have in that Call of Duty not reflecting the game itself, because now we have the integration, so if you bought Cold War right now, you're not ranking up for Cold War, you're ranking up for your Vanguard integration. You're ranking up for that new synchronized rank, whereas, you know, if you had Cold War from launch up until now, you had your exclusive rank in the game, and then now it's synced with Vanguard, of course. But yeah, there was absolutely no way of you to see any of this content if you missed Battle Passes 1 through 6, so here you go. Now, it's come to my attention that a Greatest Hits bundle is also likely going to drop in Cold War very soon, and that'll end up featuring a lot of the other spicy material from some of the previous Battle Passes, whether it's some of the high-tier blueprints, tier 100 skins, any of the really cool content that we all know is great, but also isn't included in some of the vault packs as I just showed you. So keep an eye out for that one. It might even drop tomorrow for all we know. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, I also want to clarify the meaning of year 2, just so you guys understand what I mean by that when I put that in my title for videos or in thumbnails. It just means, for me, the second year of life for the game, because yes, there are updates still being added to the game regularly, whether it's playlist updates, more bundles. We do know for a fact more bundles are going to be dropping either before the new year or even in 2022, considering, here's some proof for you, there are operators that exist in Cold War that you can't interact with for character customization. The reason why is because there aren't any extra skins you can apply to that character. Striker's a good example of that, but as of recently, with a recent patch the game got, you can now click triangle on the character of Striker, allowing you to select different skins for him. There aren't any skins for him just yet, so that just means that other bundles are on the way featuring new skins for Striker and probably some others that we'll end up seeing over the next couple of months. That happened with Modern Warfare as well, where there were just some random bundles that released even while Cold War was already out, and I'm sure the same will happen for Cold War. And that likely is on Activision's mind and agenda if bundles are selling well for certain Call of Duties. But before we continue with more information about Season 7, let's go ahead and thank the sponsor of tonight's video. Now, tonight's video is sponsored by G.Round. You can check out using the link down below in the description. G.Round is an exclusive, free, community-driven platform where games are picked every week to be supported by you guys in the community. They're dedicated to helping game developers gather feedback, improve, and polish their games to provide the ultimate experience. Now, with the link in the description, you can create an account and head to the testing tab. There's a large library of games you can choose from, and when you see one that you like, click play and you'll be asked to install the G.Round launcher. Download it and extract the file with WinRAR to begin the install. Some games won't launch via the G.Round launcher, and they'll simply give you a Steam key to go ahead and input. From the launcher, you'll be able to download and install the game. After you've played it for a decent amount of time, you're then able to review it by filling out a quick survey about your gameplay experience. Reviews can be made in any language that you prefer, but because you're helping out developers in playtesting and improving their games, they want to reward you with the G-Points currency. As you playtest, survey, and participate in events, you'll be able to accumulate more points. You can then use those points to purchase gaming gear and other items such as headphones, controllers, and even more. It's honestly the perfect system. Play brand new games, help them out, and you'll be rewarded in return. Now you can also record and share gameplay clips on the platform to highlight your best moments in the games you've tried. So as a reminder, you can check out G.Round for free using the link in this video's description. Thank you to G.Round for sponsoring tonight's video. Now back to the video. As I pointed out briefly in my previous bundle video from yesterday, I think what's really interesting is a lot of the content in these new packs is being listed as Season 7 material. Even messages of the day talking about the Vanguard integration are referring to a new update in Cold War as a Season 7. Now I get it, it could mean nothing, could be a bit of a stretch, could have been a mistake on somebody's end, but I believe, to my understanding, people with fancy computers out there have noted that technically Cold War Season 1 was referenced as Season 7 somewhere in the game's files because it was picking up where Modern Warfare left off after Season 6. We also saw reports recently of Vanguard Season 1 being referenced as Season 14 since Season 6 of Cold War was technically, and again, I mean technically, Season 13. So I hope that doesn't confuse you guys, but we can assume that number will keep increasing with each new season of Vanguard, despite us being reset every year after a Season 6. It just goes back to Season 1 when a new Call of Duty comes out, and obviously information from data miners is always tricky to work with considering it's ever-changing and is sometimes misinterpreted. I completely understand that. I don't even have a PC to data mine myself. This is just going off of information that gets posted on Twitter, on Reddit, but let's say for a second that Vanguard Season 1 is truly quote-unquote Season 14, as referenced by the game's files, then why would a Season 7 be popping up in-game for Cold War unless it's just Treyarch's way of labeling their post-Season 6 content? It's just really weird to say the least. But what's really interesting as well is that Reliable Gaming Scooper, the Modern Warfare 2 Ghost, a couple of months ago did mention some specific dates of when content will be dropping for Cold War, and all of those dates were, for the most part, on the money, except for one, which was being set to be a Season 6 Reloaded on November the 4th. That was the day before Vanguard came out, and I even said a couple of months ago that it wasn't likely to see a big DLC drop for Cold War the day before a new Call of Duty came out. I just wouldn't have saw that being likely at all. So at first I'm like, okay, it could be outdated info, right? Because he had claimed himself he had gotten info about those dates, I think it was back in June, a while back. And we do know that for 2 years in a row, the Haunting event for both Modern Warfare and Cold War took the slot of a Reloaded update for Season 6. The Haunting events themselves kind of represented a big Reloaded update for Season 6, featuring a lot of new game modes, content, bundles, the works. So I was okay with that, right? I was okay with there being no Season 6 Reloaded because the Haunting was big enough to warrant, you know, being a mid-season update, right? So either the info we had about Season 6 Reloaded was actually referencing the Haunting and its date was off, that could be the case, or there was an update featuring more content that got postponed or got canceled entirely. Maybe it never existed to begin with and the information was just a little bit off. It's unclear, but yeah, maybe a Season 6 Reloaded was gonna happen, got put off, and now is kind of being restructured as like a 2022 Season 7, but not a big content drop at once, but just a bunch of different content that gets sporadically released with no real marketing or roadmap. Maybe that's what's going on. But also don't forget that Modern Warfare technically did have a Season 7 of content lined up, which didn't exactly release the way they probably intended it to. So again, people with fancy computers out there did report that content such as the soap operator, some weapons, some maps, and even some bundles were labeled as Season 7 in the game's files. And yeah, like I said, when it comes to data mine information, take it all with a grain of salt, but images were posted out there which I can't show you on screen for obvious reasons, and there was never a Season 7 for that game. Maybe one was planned at one point. Maybe if Cold War had flopped financially, they would have put out some more content for Modern Warfare, considering that game did sell extraordinarily well, and Cold War did even better to my understanding. But it was definitely confusing seeing all the conflicting tweets from different people out there who had PCs saying, yeah, there's Season 7 content of Modern Warfare laying around, being labeled as such, ready to go out, while there's other people saying, oh, you know, Cold War Season 1 is Season 7 technically in the game's files, so we're like, wait, which is which? You know, what do the labels mean? Do they all mean nothing? Is it up to developers' discretion to label something a certain season with a certain number? I get it, it was definitely confusing to look at. So it's unclear if Season 7 was ever gonna happen, but the content that was labeled as such did end up dropping just sporadically throughout 2021. It was new multiplayer maps, some new weapons, again, the soap operator, some other special sparkly unicorn bundles, a bunch of random content. So maybe that was all planned to be one big drop at one point that got broken into pieces and just dropped randomly without any marketing, which I wasn't really a huge fan of, because I do like when they at least put out a tweet or an Instagram video, something to let us know that new content is out. They'll just drop things randomly and just say, okay, here you go. Kind of just a careless attitude and getting rid of some content that was already on deck. So maybe the same thing is happening now with Cold War, where there was some content done that was maybe planned for an additional season if one was going to happen, and now it's just being randomly released without much mention of it. Maybe that's what's going on, and that will continue to happen throughout 2022, which hopefully also includes some bigger content than just bundles, maybe even some maps. But regardless of the Season 7 label that's popping up with the new bundles, I think any form of content being added to Cold War is probably gonna be for multiplayer, right? Bundles could be used in all modes, of course, but if there's any new maps or modes that get added, it'll probably be for multiplayer and not for zombies, considering the hell Treyarch's probably going through right now with Fung, Vanguard, Foundation for COD 2023. But I think, as according to some of the data we have right now, Cold War is still outperforming Vanguard in sales for 2021. Now, I get it, obviously numbers could be scuffed, we don't have the true data in front of us, we can't verify it for ourselves, we're not, a part of the gaming industry, we're not behind the scenes scoopers, so how can we prove this, right? But the information that's been posted so far does claim that Cold War is still outperforming Vanguard for the year of 2021, which is weird because if you look back, right, when Modern Warfare came out in 2019, it immediately took the throne as king for that year for Call of Duty sales, and for gaming sales altogether, it was immediately the best-selling game of the year. And when Cold War came out, same thing, in 2020, immediately best-selling game of the year. But for Vanguard right now, right when it came out, it's not the best-selling game of 2021, and Cold War still outperformed it in comparison to Vanguard sales in November. And what's even weirder about that is, if Modern Warfare was only the best-selling game of 2019, but Cold War was the best-selling game of 2020 and 2021, what does it tell you about in-game sales, right? When Warzone gave Modern Warfare a boost throughout 2020, like quarter 2, quarter 3, even then, that boost wasn't enough to outperform Cold War when that game released during the fall of 2020, which is insane to think about. So as of now, Cold War is still on top. I'm not just saying that because I like the game more, I'm just saying, looking at the numbers that we have in front of us, that's what we're looking at. If you go even deeper into this and you start comparing other numbers with, physical and digital game sales, and comparing other regions out there, and you look at the best-selling games 2021, Cold War is still at what, number 7 there, but Vanguard isn't on the list at all. And I'm like, whoa, that puts things in perspective really quickly. So if anything, Cold War could be, in a way, like a Black Ops 3 repeat, where it still gets some support long after its release, simply because of its success that it holds when compared to newer Call of Duty releases, and Activision says, this game still has a strong player count, still is doing some numbers, bundles are selling well, just keep pumping out content for that game. So that's why there is some ground for some more content to be added to Cold War, even though a new Call of Duty just released. So with all that strong information out of the way, let's go into some fun speculation. And again, like I said in the beginning of the video, there is speculation that I think we should be talking about when it comes to a Season 7 or additional content. I think it's just fun to discuss. So first and foremost, multiplayer. Remastered maps got heavily rumored by some fairly reliable gaming scoopers, and these maps included Yemen, Plaza, Firing Range, Jungle, Radiation. Some maps that never got remastered a single time, others that we've seen a number of times in previous Black Ops games, they could have all been scrapped, maybe they're ready to go. I mean, you never really know, but I doubt anything from the Euro Mountains region or the Euro Mountains open world experience would be added, despite there being regions that could have still dropped if they were completed. Those areas could include Weather Station, which we know I think a Summit remake was a part of within the region itself. We have Chemical Labs, Battery, and Battery may have been an expansion of an old World at War map, which would have been cool. And there's also an area called Mines. So I don't think Fireteam's player count was high enough to warrant more regions, but never say never, like I always say. Now, also when it comes to multiplayer, we did get some confirmation, which a lot of people didn't really talk too much about. The Flamethrower was going to be the last kill streak that kind of rounds out the post-launch streak system for Cold War multiplayer. And the thing about that was that, hey, what are the odds that the final season of Cold War didn't go out with a bang with something like the K9 unit? There was even an image, which I can't find right now, but there was an image that was actually posted on the internet, I think it was before Season 1 of Cold War, that showed the kill streak menu and dogs were a part of that menu. So I'm like, that was definitely planned at some point in time, and there may have been a shuffle with how they release kill streaks throughout the year, considering an image of the Flamethrower being used in Season 1 was officially posted by Treyarch, but that didn't come out till Season 5. So I'm like, okay, there might have been a plan at one point to drop the Flamethrower much sooner. Maybe they shuffled around how they were going to drop streaks streaks throughout the year. I don't know, but I love the idea of DLC kill streaks. It definitely keeps multiplayer spicy, adds replayability, something new to go for every single season. I love that idea entirely. And in terms of weapons, that's completely up in the air. Who knows what weapons could have been added? Let me know your best ideas down below in the comments. What weapons or streaks would you wanted to have been added to a Season 7 of Cold War if one happens or would have happened? I think the HK-21 LMG would have been great to see, fun to use back during Black Ops 1, and there weren't many LMGs in Cold War multiplayer either, so I think one more would have been, I think, enough to scratch the itch of LMG fans here for this game. Now, when it comes to operators, I definitely think a young Menendez tie-in would have been great if they wanted to really bridge the gap between the ending of Cold War with the opening events of Black Ops 2. Unless Black Ops 2 isn't canon anymore, which is certainly plausible, I think that would have been a cool little cinematic, right? Kind of tying in how Woods gets captured, sent to the box. I think a fan favorite like Kravchenko from Zombies would have been a cool player to finally get our hands on in the game, but maybe he's dead. If they actually scratched the canon of Black Ops 2, he might have died at the end of Forsaken, we just don't know. And I think we also should have gotten some closure within some cinematics to what happened to Stitch's allies. All those people they spent time setting up throughout seasons 1 through 5, all of his new friends. I think, you know, there's a big mystery surrounding what happened to them, unless it's kind of just meant to be this off-screen handling of their characters. I don't know, but did they survive? Did they flee? Or did they get killed in Verdansk by Mason and his crew? Certainly a big question mark, so that could have been a mystery they explored if we had one more season, unless they're waiting for the potential 2023 sequel to kind of go in depth with what happened after Stitch got captured or killed by Adler in the Season 6 outro. But lastly, we have zombies. Definitely a really spicy topic for the video. There was definitely no time for another full-fledged round-based map. I definitely understand that. And Forsaken was already a perfect ending for this game, at least in my opinion. But we could have definitely still saw some small round-based maps or just small survival maps added with no quest at all. I'm not going to say Nocturne and Towing because we got plenty of Knock with D Machina and then the side quest in Forsaken, but what about the underground bunker from Ruka? That would have been a great area to play under, whether it was for, you know, regular round-based with no Easter eggs, or even just for Onslaught, considering Onslaught's now available on all platforms. Would have been great to see a new Onslaught map added now that all platforms have access to the mode. That would have been phenomenal. I also don't think it would have been hard to add that map either, considering all the machines are already down there, Pack-a-Punch, Wonder Fizz, armor stations, the workbench, and it could have been cool considering people who traditionally worked on multiplayer are currently working on Duran Fung. Maybe the Zombies team over at Treyarch may have had time to add a little bit more spice to Cold War Zombies. I don't know, it would have been great to see, but figured I'd throw that out there. But what's really interesting though, and you guys may have forgot this, is that gameplay was posted on Twitter a couple of months ago of Outbreak being played on both Crossroads and Miami. And I believe gameplay was also posted of Armada, and that ended up releasing in Season 6, of course. The final region to Outbreak has come out, but what about Crossroads and Miami? The gameplay was real, the images were definitely legit, and I talked about them before, can't show you on screen for obvious reasons. So maybe Armada wasn't meant to be the final region, but for whatever reason, the other regions got canceled, there wasn't enough time, who knows what it is that happened, but maybe that content's on deck somewhere and they'll say, hey, we'll just surprise our fans at some point throughout 2022 with an extra Outbreak region or two. Nothing too crazy, but how ironic is it that, yeah, Crossroads was left to go and we got a nuke here on Crossroads in the gameplay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Now, to end out this video, I do want to remind you guys that I'm not meaning to mislead anybody by making a video about a Season 7. We went over quite a bit of concrete information before the speculation. Hopefully that makes sense. Don't get it twisted. But I also want to remind you that, yes, Vanguard is the current Call of Duty, and no, I'm not having an issue where I'm like, oh, I can't move on from Cold War, I'm salty. Like, no. I just had a couple of Cold War videos on deck ready to go that I wanted to put out before the new year, and I'll make more Cold War videos in the future whenever new bundles get added or more content gets released. But yes, I'll be covering Vanguard still whenever it makes sense, whenever there's news, whenever there's something passionate I want to talk to you guys about, or whenever there's some decent coverage that I think you guys would enjoy. But yeah, obviously Vanguard is nowhere near as good as Cold War in my opinion. It's not as fun to cover. Interest isn't really all there either across YouTube. I totally get that, but you can still expect plenty of coverage from multiplayer, zombies, Warzone, from any Call of Duty that makes sense here on the channel. But don't forget, you can win money while playing Warzone over at Players Lounge. You can get a head start and $25 for free when signing up using the link in this video's description, and there's plenty more games you can play on there other than Warzone as well. You can play solo or with your friends, and has an instant payout system with their automated scoring, plus even an anti-cheat. They already got plenty of investment backing from Drake, Samsung, Comcast, and even more. More information is down below, but that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the strange in-game pop-ups for Season 7 in Cold War right now? What do you think is still on the table for the game, if content is at all, that could release in 2022? And also, what are your thoughts on the new vault packs that got added for those out there that missed the previous battle passes? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.